The first thing that felt wrong was her toothbrush missing from the bathroom. I know that sounds stupid. Out of everything that happened, that tiny empty spot beside my toothpaste was what made my stomach drop first. She texted me Friday afternoon saying she needed space for the weekend. Those were her exact words. No argument beforehand. No warning. Just, I think I need a couple days to clear my head. I remember staring at the message while sitting at work, rereading it over and over like there was some hidden meaning between the lines. We'd been together almost 6 years. Lived together for 4. I genuinely thought we were stable. Boring sometimes, sure, but stable in the comforting adult way. Shared groceries. Shared bills. Sunday laundry routines. Talking about maybe buying a house outside the city. I called her twice that evening. Straight to voicemail. By midnight, I noticed her overnight bag was gone too. Still, I told myself not to spiral. People need space. Relationships get heavy. I trusted her completely. That's what makes this story feel so humiliating now. Because while I was sitting alone in our apartment convincing myself to be mature and understanding, she was already 3 hours away in another city with my childhood best friend. And somehow, at that point, I still had no idea that I met Ryan when we were 12. We grew up on the same street, played on the same terrible soccer team, got drunk together for the first time behind his parents' garage. He was basically family. My mother still had photos of us covered in mud holding cheap fishing rods like we'd caught something legendary. When I met Claire years later, Ryan was one of the first people I introduced her to. That part keeps replaying in my head now. I introduced them. At first, they barely interacted. Ryan was loud, sarcastic, always flirting with waitresses and never staying in relationships longer than 3 months. Claire was quieter. More composed. She used to roll her eyes at his jokes. But over time, the 3 of us became a routine. Friday drinks. Weekend barbecues. Random late-night phone calls. Ryan even helped us move apartments 2 years ago. There were warning signs, I guess. Little things. Inside jokes I wasn't part of. Moments where they'd look at each other too long after saying something harmless. Claire suddenly defending him any time I complained about him being irresponsible. But when someone has been your best friend for over 20 years, your brain protects them automatically. You don't want to see betrayal. You explain it away before suspicion can even form. That's exactly what I did. About 6 months before everything exploded, Claire started changing in ways I couldn't explain. Nothing dramatic at first. She became weirdly protective of her phone. Started taking it into the bathroom. Tilting the screen away when messages came in. I noticed because she'd never been like that before. We used each other's phones casually. If mine died, I grabbed hers to order food or check directions. There was never secrecy between us. Then suddenly there was. One night I woke up around 2 a.m. and saw light coming from the kitchen. Claire was sitting there in the dark texting someone. I asked who it was. She jumped so hard she almost dropped the phone. Then she laughed. Too quickly. Jesus, you scared me. It's just Melissa. Melissa was her co-worker. I remember apologizing for startling her. Apologizing. That part eats at me now. A week later, Ryan started acting strange too. He stopped answering my calls as often. Started canceling plans last minute. But whenever we did hang out, he acted overly friendly. Like aggressively normal. I actually remember thinking, maybe he's depressed. That's how blind I was. The human brain will do gymnastics to avoid accepting something painful. Especially when the people hurting you are the people you trust most. The weekend she disappeared, Ryan also became mysteriously unavailable. I didn't connect it immediately. Friday night, I texted him asking if he wanted to grab a beer since Claire was away. No answer. Saturday morning I tried again. Nothing. By Saturday evening, I started feeling genuinely anxious. Claire still wasn't replying beyond short cold messages. Just need time. Please stop overthinking. I'll be back Sunday. That wording haunted me. Overthinking. People say that when they already know they're guilty. Sunday afternoon, I called Claire again. Straight to voicemail. Then around 5 p.m., Ryan finally texted me back. Sorry, man. Been out of town all weekend. I stared at that message for a long time. Out of town where? I asked casually. He didn't answer for over an hour. Then, just needed a break too, honestly. Something inside me shifted then. Not proof. Not certainty. Just this sick electrical feeling in my chest. You know those moments where your body understands something before your brain does? That. I barely slept Sunday night. Claire came home around 11 p.m. She smelled like hotel soap. Not hers. Hotel soap. And when I kissed her hello, she flinched. The actual discovery happened because of a receipt. Not some dramatic confession. Not catching them in bed. A stupid receipt. Monday morning, Claire was in the shower getting ready for work. Her bag was on the kitchen chair partially open. I wasn't snooping at first. I swear. Her wallet had fallen sideways, and receipts were scattered near the zipper. I picked one up automatically because I thought it might be important. Then I saw the hotel name. A boutique hotel in Brno. 3 hours away. 2 guests. 1 king bed. My chest went cold so fast I thought I might pass out. I remember hearing the shower running while I stood there staring at the paper like my brain couldn't process words anymore. Then I checked the date. Saturday night. I don't know what made me do it next, but I opened our phone bill online. Ryan's number appeared constantly over the weekend. Calls. Texts. Late night activity. The room started spinning. I actually said out loud, "No. No, no, no." Like if I repeated it enough, reality would reverse itself. Claire walked into the kitchen while I was still holding the receipt. Her face changed instantly. Not confusion. Not surprise. Recognition. That was the moment I knew. Before either of us even spoke. "What is this?" My voice sounded unfamiliar. Thin. Weak. Claire froze near the counter, still drying her hair with a towel. For a second, either of us moved. Then she said very quietly, "You went through my stuff?" That question nearly drove me insane. Not denial. Not shock. Just anger that I'd discovered it. I held up the receipt with shaking hands. "Tell me I'm wrong." She looked exhausted suddenly. Like she'd been carrying something heavy for a long time. "I didn't want you to find out like this." That sentence detonated inside my skull. I remember laughing. Actual hysterical laughing. "Find out what exactly?" She sat down slowly and covered her face. And then she admitted it. "Not everything. Not yet. But enough." She said she and Ryan had crossed boundaries. That phrase still makes me sick. Crossed boundaries. Like they accidentally stepped over a line in a parking lot. I asked if they slept together. Silence. Then tears. Then finally a tiny nod. I think something physically broke inside me in that moment. It felt like hearing about my own death from across the room. Because betrayal from one person hurts. But betrayal from 2 people who were central to your life? That changes your entire understanding of reality. I called Ryan immediately. Claire kept saying, "Please don't." But I already had my phone in my hand. He answered on the 3rd ring. I didn't even say hello. "How long?" Silence. Then he sighed. That sigh destroyed me almost more than the confession itself. "Man! How long?" I screamed it this time. Claire started crying harder in the background. Ryan finally admitted it had been going on for almost 8 months. 8 months. The room actually blurred. Birthdays. Holidays. Double dates. Movie nights. My promotion dinner. All of it had happened while they were secretly sleeping together behind my back. I asked him if he ever felt guilty. He said, "It just happened. People who cheat always say that. As if betrayal is weather. As if lies just fall from the sky onto them accidentally. Then came the worst part. He told me Claire had tried ending things with him multiple times, but they couldn't stay away from each other. I almost threw up hearing that. Because suddenly I wasn't just the betrayed partner anymore. I was the obstacle in someone else's love story. That realization hollowed me out in ways I still can't fully explain. The next few days became pure chaos. Claire stayed at her sister's apartment because I couldn't stand looking at her without feeling physically sick. Ryan's number was blocked immediately, though he kept emailing me long paragraphs trying to explain himself. I didn't read most of them. My appetite disappeared completely. I survived on coffee and cigarettes for almost a week even though I'd quit smoking years earlier. The worst part was the humiliation. Not just the cheating itself, the possibility that other people knew. Mutual friends suddenly made sense in retrospect. Certain awkward silences. Weird looks at parties. Times people seemed uncomfortable around us. I became paranoid. Had everyone known except me? My mother called after Claire told her we were having problems. I lied and said we just needed space because I couldn't even say the truth out loud yet. It felt emasculating. Embarrassing. Childish even. Like somehow I'd failed at being a man because the two people closest to me deceived me for nearly a year without me noticing. I stopped sleeping properly. Every quiet moment became mental torture. Tiny memories replayed endlessly in my head, now poisoned with new meaning. Claire eventually came back to talk. She looked awful. Red eyes. Pale skin. Like she hadn't slept either. For a moment, seeing her cry still triggered protective instincts in me. That's the messed up thing about loving someone deeply. Your emotions don't shut off immediately just because they hurt you. She kept saying she never meant for this to happen. I asked her if she loved him. She started crying harder. That was answer enough. But then she said something that truly shattered me. I still love you too. Too. I remember staring at her thinking, how can you say that to me after this? She tried explaining how it started emotionally first. Late-night conversations. Complaining about relationship stress. Ryan understanding her in ways I supposedly didn't anymore. Apparently one drunken night became kissing. Then secrecy. Then hotels in other cities. She said she felt trapped between us. I almost laughed at the audacity. Trapped? I was the one unknowingly living inside a lie for 8 months. Still, part of me desperately wanted her to say she'd choose me. Isn't that pathetic? Even after everything, some broken part of me still wanted to win her back. That realization made me hate myself almost as much as I hated them. Ryan showed up at my apartment unannounced 3 days later. I nearly punched him the second I opened the door. He looked terrified, honestly. But also determined, which somehow made it worse. He kept saying we needed to talk like brothers. That phrase almost made me black out from anger. Brothers don't sleep with each other's partners. He admitted he'd been jealous of my relationship for years. Said Claire made him feel seen, in a way nobody else ever had. Again, all about their feelings. Not mine. Never mine. I asked him whether he ever thought about me while they were together. He actually had the nerve to say yes. That he felt guilty constantly. But apparently not guilty enough to stop. Then came another punch to the stomach. Some of our friends already suspected something. Not confirmed, but suspected. I felt this overwhelming wave of humiliation wash over me. Like I'd been walking around naked while everyone politely avoided mentioning it. Ryan started crying at one point. Actual tears. And weirdly, that made me angrier than if he'd acted cold. Because his remorse changed absolutely nothing. The damage was already permanent. 20 years of friendship reduced to ashes in one conversation. I wish I could say I ended things immediately and walked away with dignity. I didn't. For about 2 months, Claire and I existed in this horrible limbo where we kept trying to work through it. Therapy. Long conversations. crying at 2 a.m., holding each other while simultaneously destroying each other emotionally. She swore the affair was over. Swore she'd blocked Ryan. Swore she wanted us. And sometimes I believed her. That's the ugly truth nobody talks about after betrayal. Love doesn't disappear just because trust does. I still knew how she took her coffee. Still reached for her in bed half asleep. Still wanted her approval even while resenting her deeply. But I became paranoid. Obsessive. Every notification sound triggered anxiety. Every late arrival from work felt suspicious. I checked timestamps, social media activity, tiny behavioral shifts. That version of me felt disgusting. I wasn't a partner anymore. I was a prison guard monitoring someone who had already escaped emotionally months ago. One night during an argument, Claire screamed, "You'll never forgive me no matter what I do!" And the terrifying part was, she was right. The final collapse happened because of one accidental message. Claire left her laptop open while she showered. A notification appeared in the corner of the screen from Ryan. Just one sentence. "I miss you too." That was it. No ambiguity left. No more therapy language. No more promises. I felt strangely calm this time. Not explosive anger like before. Just emptiness. When she came out of the bathroom, I simply pointed at the screen. She immediately started crying and saying it wasn't what it looked like. Which is almost funny considering it looked exactly like what it was. Then came the truth. I think she'd been avoiding herself. She couldn't let him go. And she couldn't let me go either. But eventually life forces choices. I told her to pack her things. She begged me not to make decisions while emotional. That sentence still irritates me because it implied there was some rational version of betrayal I should have calmly accepted. We both cried while she packed. 6 years condensed into cardboard boxes and garbage bags. At one point she touched my face and whispered, "I'm so sorry." I believed she meant it. And somehow, that made leaving even harder. After Claire moved out, my life became painfully quiet. People underestimate how much relationships shape daily existence. Her mug still sat in the cabinet for weeks because I couldn't bring myself to move it. I'd hear a funny story at work and instinctively reach for my phone before remembering there was nobody to send it to anymore. Ryan vanished completely after that. Some mutual friends chose sides. Others awkwardly distanced themselves from both of us. Social circles collapsed surprisingly fast once betrayal enters them. I started having panic attacks too. Never had them before in my life. Grocery stores became emotional minefields because everything reminded me of routines we shared together. Certain songs physically hurt to hear. The worst nights were when nostalgia overpowered anger. Because despite everything, there were still real memories underneath the lies. Vacations. Birthdays. Lazy Sunday mornings. Genuine love existed there once. That's what made healing impossible for a long time. If she'd been purely cruel, maybe it would have been easier. But she wasn't. She was flawed. Weak. Confused. Human. And unfortunately, humans can destroy each other while still loving each other. That realization changed how I see relationships forever. About a year later, I heard through mutual friends that Claire and Ryan were officially together. That news reopened wounds I thought had scarred over. Apparently they moved into an apartment together in the same city where they'd hidden their affair. Poetic, I guess. I wish I could say I handled it maturely. Truthfully, I drank too much that night and stared at old photos until sunrise. I kept comparing myself to him. What did he have that I didn't? Was I boring? Predictable? Emotionally unavailable without realizing it? Betrayal rewires your self-worth in dangerous ways. You start auditing your entire personality, searching for reasons someone chose another person over you. Therapy eventually helped me understand something important though. Their affair said more about them than about me. People cheat because of their own fractures, not because their partners deserve deception. Still, knowing that intellectually doesn't erase emotional damage. Even now, years later, trust feels different. Less innocent. I notice inconsistencies faster. I guard parts of myself automatically. Maybe that's wisdom. Maybe it's unresolved trauma. Probably both. I still think about them sometimes. Not every day anymore, which honestly felt impossible back then. But certain things trigger memories unexpectedly. Hotels. Specific songs. The smell of Claire's old perfume on strangers passing by. The hardest part wasn't losing my girlfriend. It was losing my sense of certainty about people. Before all this, I genuinely believed long history guaranteed loyalty. I thought loving someone deeply meant they'd protect your heart the same way you protected theirs. Now I know betrayal can grow quietly inside ordinary routines. Sometimes the people destroying you are smiling beside you in photographs while doing it. I haven't spoken to Ryan in years. Claire emailed me once after their relationship apparently ended too. I never replied. Part of me wanted closure. Another part understood there is no satisfying ending to stories like this. Just damage that slowly becomes manageable. If there's one thing I learned, it's this. When your instincts whisper that something is wrong, listen carefully. Love can make intelligent people blind. And trust, once broken by two people at the same time, leaves a kind of loneliness that's difficult to explain unless you've lived through it yourself.